Hi all, good morning, good evening. Welcome to another session of our exclusive training, JMeter Beginner to Master with Groovy, Dynatrace, Kubernetes, Docker, InfluxDB, Grafana, Jenkins, and BlazeMeter. So we have now seen the different process which we are following for the test script recording, guys. Clear all of you? Any questions, anyone till now?
Yeah, I have related to the assertions. The ignore state of checkbox is not clear to me. Can you show the one example for that?
So that we'll see during the API thing, okay?
Okay.
Yeah. Means basically in ignore status, what happens is status means it depends on the response status code, right? So if your response status code is 404 or let's say 503 or 500, what does that mean? It resembles error or not?
Yes, error.
Yes, very good. However, guys, let's say you are getting some response. Okay, you are getting the response, but you are not getting the proper status code. So if you select the ignore status, then JMeter will ignore what status is coming. It will just check the other validation, whatever you are doing. If you are doing a text response, so if the text response is matching, but the status code is not matching, in that case also, it will pass the request. It will not fail it. Okay. So
Suppose I have two assertions. One is getting failed and the other is getting passed. So still,
no, that is applicable to the same assertion, right? You are again starting with I have two assertions.
of
So
course,
if you have two,
I want to check for response body and other I want to check the response code. I could have two assertions or more than two also.
for the same request, you want to keep multiple assertions.
Yes, one in want to check a response code,
It is
another I
not a
want
good
a response
practice.
message.
No, why do you do? Are you doing functional testing here? You have to come out of that functional testing mindset. You are not verifying the functionality of the application. Once you are into a performance testing project, there would be someone else who would be doing functional testing, who will verify what response body is coming, what response status code is coming. Understood? Our job is not to do functional testing. Remember? Are you getting me? What is the
I
entry
know,
criteria? One
I
moment. What is
know
the one moment? One moment. What is the entry criteria for performance testing?
it should be the application should be stable and all
Functionally
the
stable,
functionality
right?
should be done. Yeah.
Yeah, it should be functionally stable. So someone else will verify that. Yes or no?
Yes.
Our job is just to check any criteria is fine because you have already verified that the application is functionally stable. Our job is just to verify whether the request is passing or failing. Understood or not? We are not here to do functional testing. I do not want to go and verify whether I'm getting the response status code, whether I'm getting the response body. Understood? Those are things I'm not here to do. Clear?
The problem is that with the JMeter, like if I clicking on the ignore status and my assertion is getting failed, still it's getting passed. The request is getting passed. It's supposed
So
to
why
be
will
get.
again? Did I say you ignore status is mandatory? I'm see you're not understanding one thing. These are the
What?
features. These are the features which JMeter is providing, right? If you have to do assertion, why will you go and click on ignore status? If you have any special criteria where you have to do that, where you are doing the debugging or something, then you might want to do. But nowhere I have mentioned that ignore status is mandatory. Now you are saying that no, JMeter is going to create a problem for me because if I click ignore status, even if the request is failing, it will show me a pass. Did
Yeah, but
JMeter tell you it
it
is
should
mandatory?
no because you. clear this topic, ignore state of whatever you are telling it, it's not matching it. It's not happening with the JMeter according to that. Same it's happened with the random CSV data also, where I mentioned you told like it should be gone with the 3 rows, and it's not going. The data is not taking according to that. That's why I want to clear whether it's correct or not.
Which one is correct or not? Ignore status. I told you ignore status. I'll show you during API testing.
Yeah,
I
okay.
haven't shown ignore status example. Have I shown yet? I have explained that, right?
Yeah, you told, and after that you started explaining it also, right? That's why I told what is the issue.
Well, see, one thing, you have to come out of the functional testing mindset. Whatever elements we are covering, I'm going through the different features which are available in JMeter. It does not mean you have to always use all the features of a tool. Understood? Based on our requirement, we are going to use the feature. Clear? For example, any application you are using, are you going to use all the functionalities of the application as a user?
Yeah, but
You
I
as a
need to know, right, whether it's how it's working. Suppose in the working project, I need to use it, and currently I'm not clear how to use it. That's why I'm just asking you.
So how to use it, I'll show you that during API script development. Okay, if you want to know like how to use it, basically I have
Okay.
already explained how it works. If you want to see a practical demonstration, I'll show it during the API script development. Please you know, remind me at that time. Okay, during API test script development. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah.
Any other questions, anyone?
And the random CSV data also, how it's going to take it from the file, because the way you showed, it's not taking the way.
Yeah, I
People
think there is
should
a
have
defect.
also
I think
practical.
there is a defect for that. I'll check that. Okay.
Okay.
Yeah. So we'll go to the next one, guys. Let me start sharing my screen. Is my screen visible to all of you? So the next one, have you all noticed for every sampler, right? For every sampler, if we expand, you all see one element known as HTTP header manager. Clear, everyone? Is my screen visible to all of you? So
Can
all
you
of you
please
see
zoom
here.
in? Can you please zoom in, Chandra?
Is it visible now?
Yeah, it's fine now.
So everyone, under the sampler, for every sampler, you will have one element which is captured or added, that is known as the HTTP header manager. Clear? Again, HTTP header manager is a config element, everyone. Okay, HTTP header manager is a config element. Now we will see what is the use of the HTTP header manager. See everyone, name, comments, no need to explain, right? Then for every request, as we are discussing HTTP request in details, right? We had request header and request body. Now request body or request data or the parameters, they are going in the sampler, right? They are going in the sampler. But what about the request headers? How to manage the request headers? They can be managed using the HTTP header manager. Now for every request, guys, there will be so many header names or header values, right? Header names and their values basically. If we have to add those header values manually, it will take ages for us, right? So that is where JMeter automatically captures the header values, the header names, okay, the header names and the header values. Whenever we are doing the recording, it is capturing them. In case, but sometimes you will see that maybe in some applications, what happens is, don't take the header names and their values for granted, guys. Do not take them for granted. Okay, sometimes what will you notice is, even if you have done correlation correctly, even if you have done parameterization correctly, that request might be failing. You would have compared, okay, in this particular request and in the recording request or in the application manually, I see that yes, I have handled everything correctly, but there could be issue with the header. What would happen is, let's say JMeter fails to capture a particular header. It is not only with JMeter, guys, any performance testing tool also. In case they fail to capture any particular header name and its value for any particular sampler, and that header value could be critical for that request to uniquely identify that request, or it could be very critical for that request, so that request could fail. Understood? That request could fail, which is not good, right? So now in that case, always remember, guys, whenever any request is failing, please also check the headers. Okay, like when you are using the application manually, what all header values are getting passed for that request, whether all those header values are also getting passed in JMeter or not. In case any header value is missing, in case any header value is missing, you can manually add. So if you click on this add button, a new row will be added. So you can give the header name over here and the value for that header. Understood, everyone? If any header name is missing, then you can add it manually also. Otherwise, you will see that JMeter would already capture most of the header names and values for the particular request. Did all of you understand header manager? Now, this header manager, guys, for example, this one, what is the scope of this header manager, guys? What is the scope of this header manager? All of you, what is the scope of this header manager? How many of you are able to understand my question?
To capture request and response header both.
That is my scope.
The header manager scope.
Do you remember one topic I had covered, JMeter elements, scope of JMeter elements? Yes or no? How many of you understand my question? What is the scope of this header element? Forgot. The scope of
define a variable, right?
Sorry?
Define a variable.
Design a variable. No. What is the scope of this HTTP header manager element? The scope
to capture the
tell me.
To capture the environment details.
No. So the scope of this HTTP header manager is its parent element, that is this particular element. Means this header manager will contain the header names which are for this particular sampler, or in other words, this header manager will have the values, names and values which will be required to send with this particular sampler only. These header names are not going to be sent in this sampler, For the other samplers, they have their own header managers. Scope of any JMeter element I had clearly told, right? Its parent. it is limited to its parent. Okay. So, however, guys, let's say one value is missing, one header name is missing, and it is not missing for a single request. I repeat, a header name and its value is missing, and it is not missing for a single request. Rather, it is missing for all the requests. Means that value should be present in all the requests, and it is missing in all the requests. So, what will you do? Will you go to each header manager, click on add, right? Click on add the value, name and value in each of the header manager, guys? Will you go to each header manager and add it? Definitely not. What will I do? Rather, I will add, right? I will add a header manager to the thread group. I'll add a header manager to the thread group. And in that header manager, I will define the name and the value. So guys, if I add a header name and value to the thread group, what will happen? Header is always going to be associated with a sampler. So what all samplers are part of that particular thread group, guys? So when I'm adding a header manager to this thread group, the scope of that header manager becomes the thread group. Yes or no? When I'm adding a header manager to the thread group, the scope of that header manager becomes the thread group. So whatever samplers are available under the particular thread group, they all will have, you know, that header name and value added to them. Did all of you understand?
So this header manager is going to cover for both the request and response header for that parent request, both, right? Both header for request and response.
The response is sent by whom?
Client, server.
Server sends your response. JMeter sends your
Request.
requests. So this header manager deals with only the request, but headers have to come in the response that will be dealt by the server, not by JMeter. Understood?
Okay.
Yeah. Okay, any other questions, anyone? Did all of you understand what did I say? When I said about scope, if any value for a header is missing for all the requests in your thread group, then you will add that you will add a header manager to the thread group. Okay, like this. Let's say I click on the thread group. Then I go to config element and then HTTP header manager. So I'll have the header manager in the thread group. Then I will click and give the name. And then I'll give a value. Okay. And then if I save it, sorry. Okay. If I save it, so what will happen, guys? This name and value will get added to the header of each sampler. Please remember this concept, because in the future I'm going to use this concept, guys. I'll ask you at that time. Okay. Okay, to be specific, I'll use it in Dynatrace sessions. Okay, please remember this. I'll use it in Dynatrace sessions. Okay. Next. Similarly, guys, if the requests in a particular transaction controller are missing one value or name, what do I do? If all the requests of a particular transaction controller are missing a header, but not the other requests. What will I do? Or other requests do not need that header. What will I do?
Add the header manager to that particular request, whichever is missing that header.
Okay, so for example, these three samplers are missing the header value. So I'll go to each header manager, add that value. Is that what you are trying to say?
No, we can add it to the transaction controller T01 underscore launch.
Which one?
T01 underscore in the transaction
What will we
controller,
add?
the header,
What will
right?
we add?
HTTP header manager.
Yes, that is the answer. But your previous answer seemed as if you are saying we'll add the value to each sampler, right? I think you said that. No worries, but that is the right answer, guys. We will add the header manager to the transition controller itself. So when you add this header, see the levels, guys. See the levels. The header manager, this header manager and your samplers are at the same level. So the scope of this header manager becomes the transition controller. But the scope of these header managers, see their levels. Always remember the scope will be defined by the level of that element. They have these levels. Right? I hope you all understand the difference. Clear? Any questions, anyone? So guys, now we have understood about the different categories of elements which you will need to develop a test script. By now you should be able to develop the scripts. Okay, clear everyone? So you see, we have gone through the thread group, the config elements. So we have not gone through all of them, but we'll go through all of them later. Listener you have understood. Timer will go later, guys. Post processor we have seen. Assertion we have seen. Okay. Next, we are going to see a new topic. Relative path and absolute path. What am I trying to say? Relative path and absolute path. You all already know this concept, but I'm also trying to cover it separately also, so that the proper emphasis is there. You all recollect it also. Relative path and absolute path. Guys, if you remember, I have told you this view results tree, right, which I gave here. When I'm creating this script, now what you can see, guys, you can see the entire name, right? Sorry, not name. You can see the entire file path directory here. Yes or no? In the file name field, you are able to see the entire file path directory. For example, in this user credentials CSV dataset config, in the file name field, you are able to see only the file name. You are able to see only the file name. Here also you are able to see only the file name. Yes or no? So guys, when we are providing only the file name, remember this, when we are providing only the file name, the path, right? The path of this file, basically, points to, the path of this file points to which directory, everyone? The file location or the path location of this particular file relates to which location?
Bin folder.
Which location?
Bin folder.
Very good. That is the bin directory, guys. Guys, you all forgot this also. It refers to the bin directory. Means this file is present in the bin directory, guys. Means the path is relative to bin direct. What happened? Oh my god, sorry. The path is relative to bin directory. Okay, the path is relative to bin directory. Clear, all of you? When I'm giving only the file name, it means it is relative to the bin directory. Now, why it is relative to the bin directory? Because bin directory is the present working directory or home directory of JMeter. All of you remember this. People will ask you in the interviews. What happens when we are giving only the file name? How is JMeter able to read the file even though we are not specifying the file path? Because JMeter has the bin directory as its present working directory. So whenever we are giving only the file name, JMeter will look for that file in the bin directory. If that file is present in the bin directory, JMeter will be able to read that file. If the file is not present in the bin directory, JMeter will not able to read the file. So this is our relative path. Understood, everyone? Relative path with respect to the bin directory of JMeter. Is it clear? Is it clear, everyone?
Yes,
Okay.
Chandra.
Coming to absolute path. Now, guys, if I want, I can provide. Where is the file? This is the file, right? User credentials.csv. If I want, I can also provide the file path in this manner. If I want, I can also provide the file path in this manner, guys. And this will be called as my absolute path, right? This will be called as my absolute path when I'm giving the complete file path, guys. When I'm giving the complete file path. Do you all understand? Now, it is not mandatory to give the absolute path always in case your file is present in the bin directory. But guys, let's say you place the file in some other directory. Okay, you have placed this file in some other directory other than the bin directory, and you're just providing file name, then it will not work. JMeter will not be able to find this file. JMeter will not be able to find this file. And it is not mandatory that you have to keep the file only in the bin directory. It is not mandatory. So if you are not keeping the file in the bin directory, if you are not keeping the file in the bin directory, then what you have to do? You have to provide the complete path, guys. Understood? You have to provide the complete path. Clear? Any questions, anyone? Clear? So point to remember, guys, if your file,
I have one query. Hello.
tell me.
I have
Yeah,
one
tell me.
query. When we try to send a file, suppose we have developed a script, we send a file. At that time, the file path is like in the bin directory. I send my file. Okay, I recorded the script and sent. And at my friend loads it. Okay, he may not have that file in the bin directory. Okay, then there always be an error, right? In that case. So when is we say that it's better to have relative path or absolute path? Hopefully I'm clear with my
Okay.
question.
So you will send your script to your friend, for example. So
Yes.
when you have to open the script, okay, when you have to open the script, you can go to that location and open your script. But these test data
Yes.
files will be there in your script, right or not? These test
Yes.
data files will also be there in your script. So your question is very valid for these test data files. Script wise, it is not that important because you have already sent this script, right? So that script, wherever it is located, that guy will open it. Yes or no? From this location.
Yes. Yes.
Understood?
Yes.
But
Yeah.
inside your test script, you have these test data files. Yes or no?
Yes.
Now let's say I
Yes.
transfer this script to you. Okay, I transfer this script to you. When you open your script, when you open this script in your local, this file name field, what will you see? You will still see the file name only. Yes or no? You will still see the file
Yes.
name only.
Fine.
Now in that case, a file with a similar name should be present. Now the question which you asked, I'm framing that I'm sending you the file. Understood? I have
Okay.
sent you the
Yeah.
file. I have sent you my
Okay.
test script. You have opened it in your JMeter. Now, when you open this script in your JMeter, you will see these file names. Yes or no? You will see these file names.
Yes. Yes.
And you will see only the file names. You will not see any path because over here I have only given the file name. Yes or no?
Yes.
So in your test script also, when I have sent it to you, you will see the file name only. Now, in order to ensure that it is working, first of all, you should have this file somewhere in your system. Yes or no? Without the file
Yes.
not there, your data will not be picked up. That is first thing. So your
Okay.
file should be there somewhere in your system. Now, if you're
Okay.
not changing this script, you are not going to change this script, what will happen? This file name will only remain here. So in that case, this file should be present in the bin directory of your JMeter location. Understood or not?
Okay.
But
Yes.
But if this file is present in somewhere, some other location in your system, other than the bin directory, if this file is present, sorry, if this file is present in some other location other than the bin directory in your system, what you have to do? You have to update this test script. Either you move those files to the bin directory and you do not have to make any change here, or what you have to do? You have to provide the complete file path of that file. So I always recommend everyone to keep the files in the bin directory only, so that you don't have to, you know, go to the file location always and provide the complete file path. Because whatever is the bin directory, for me, my JMeter might be present in C drive. For you, your JMeter might be present in D drive. It doesn't matter. Because as long as the file is present in the bin directory, it becomes the home directory. Understood?
Yeah. Okay.
All of you understood? Very good question.
Yeah.
Clear? So that is what the concept
Yes.
is. If you are going with absolute path, always ensure that you have given the complete path. So the summary is, guys, it is not mandatory that you provide the complete path always, provided your file is present in the bin directory. So if your file is present in the bin directory, you can only specify the file name, or you can also give the entire file path of your bin directory. If your file is present somewhere else other than the bin directory, you need to provide the entire file path. Now you asked about the test script also. The test script thing will come in the future when we are going to see the execution part. Okay, that will also come into picture, the path thing. Okay, remember that.
Okay. Sure. Yeah.
Any questions,
Thanks.
anyone? No problem.
If you
Did I
put in
answer
the
all?
shared drive, right? For the file, CSV file, data file, if you have multiple data file, huge data volume data, I mean, huge volume data, then we can keep that into the shared drive. Then we can point to that shared drive. Then it will JMeter will pick, right? Or any restriction is there within it?
No, provided JMeter should be able to access that location.
Okay.
If JMeter does not have the access to that location, how will JMeter pick it up?
No.
So don't
even
go for
this-
those complications. See, don't go for those complications. If normally your load generator machine will be a physical machine or a virtual machine, right? If it is a physical machine,
Yeah.
allot it to you. Keep your files in the bin directory. If the files are there in the shared drive, also download them, put it in the bin because it is allocated to you, right? Similarly, if your JMeter or your load generator is basically in a VM, right? So put the files in the VM. Why to go for complicated things, right? See, execution means test script development you will do, but in case if there is an error due to during the execution, and that is not an application error but some script error, that is a big headache, right? Unnecessary headache, unnecessary problem you are running into. Yes or no?
Yes, sir.
So keep the things simple as it is. Okay, as much simple as possible, right? Is it clear? Or any questions, anyone? Okay. Relative path, absolute path, all of you clear or not?
Yeah,
Yes?
clear.
Very good. Next, guys. The next thing is we have already learned about scope of JMeter elements. Yes or no? We have already learned about scope of JMeter elements. Today also I explained it during the header manager thing. All of you clear on that? Yes or no? Yes or no?
Yes.
Yes. Now comes scope of JMeter variables. This is very, very important, guys. Very, very important. Scope of JMeter variables. Now, when I say scope of JMeter variables, we will discuss about global variable and local variable, guys. We'll discuss about global variable and local variable. Forget JMeter. Forget JMeter. Can anyone tell me what do you understand by global variable, local variable? Everybody must have learned or read computer science or any computer subjects, right? So you all should be, means you must have done some programming in any programming language, C, C++, Java, anything, Python, right? So anyone can tell me global variable, local variable. What do you mean by that? I just explain like a layman. I don't want much technicalities.
Global will work all the methods in a whole script. Local will be within that method.
Very good. So guys, in a simple layman's language, right? Let's say the layman is also not aware of methods, right? Global, local. Global variable or local variable, for example, or let's say you have a piece of code, right? Let's say, so you are mentioning as a method. Let's say I'll say piece of code. So this everyone will understand or not? Piece of software code. Okay. So what will I say? Global variable means that particular variable can be accessed by the entire piece of code. Yes or no? That variable can be accessed by the entire piece of code. But local means that variable, local variable, can be accessed by a certain section of the code, not the entire, no, right? Only a particular section of the code can access that variable. That is your local variable. And when it can be accessed throughout, it is called as global. All of you understood now? Whatever he said, he's correct. Okay. When all the methods can access it, it is global, right? However, if only a particular method can access it or limited to a method, then it is a local variable. All of you clear? Yes or no? Now we will understand the scope of JMeter variables with respect to that, guys, global and local. Okay. Now for us, when we come to JMeter, what is our like over there when I was saying the entire piece of code, in this case, what is it, guys? What is it?
Test plan.
Can I say? Very good. Very good. Test plan. Right or not, guys? My entire thing over here is my test plan. If any element in a test plan, or if any thing can access the entire test plan, I can say that it is a global. Yes or no? Okay. Now let us see, guys, about global variables and local variables. Okay. I'll make some modifications, guys. Okay. Here I have thread group 1. Okay. Then what do? I will add another thread group. I'll give the name as thread group 2. Clear? And over here, let's say I give T01 launch, and here I paste it. What did I do? I took it from here. Okay. Here I go, and then this is T01 launch. What will I do? I will give it as TG thread group 2 T01 launch, and here what will I do? TG1 T01 launch means this launch belongs to my thread group 1. This launch belongs to my thread group 2. All of you understood? This header manager I haven't deleted. Oh. Okay, all of you understood this? What did I do? What did I do? I created two thread, means I added another thread group. I just copied the first transition controller from thread group 1 to thread group 2. All of you clear? Yes or no? Yes. Now, guys, what will I do? I have this test environment details, right? I have this test environment details. I will disable the request default. Okay, I'll disable the HTTP request default. Next, I disable these transition controllers also. Clear? So this is enabled. Here I have this sampler also I disable. This sampler also I disable. What I do, this request defaults I have disabled, so I'll copy this. I'll paste it here. Okay, and this variable name I put it here. Similarly, this variable name I put it here, and this I make it as HTTPS. All of you who didn't understand till now what I did, who didn't understand till now? All of you understood till now what have I done? Right? Next, guys, what will I do? This test environment details. Okay, this test environment details, I will, let's say, disable this, and I create a copy of it. Okay, I create a copy of it, and I add it to thread group 1. What did I do? I have added this thread group. Okay, sorry, this thread group was already there. This request defaults I disabled. This test environment details I disabled. Right? What did I do? The same test environment details I put it under thread group 1. Okay, clear? Now, guys, okay, one more thing I'll do. This view results tree, which I had kept it under thread group 1, I put it under the test plan, guys. Okay, I'll put it under the test plan. Okay. Now, let me disable this because this is not going to be used anyways. So guys, when I execute this will be, I'll run for one user, one iteration. This also I'll run for one user, one iteration. Okay. What is the expectation, guys? Who can tell me? What do you think? What will happen?
One request will pass and the other request in the thread group 02 doesn't find the server name and get failed.
How do you know it will not find it? It is already defined here, right?
No, but in the thread group 2 doesn't have it. Environment
Okay.
detail.
Okay. Anyone else? What do you think? Let's do other way around. Let me disable this one here now. Okay. First. And let me enable this one. Okay. What will happen now?
In this case, thread group 1 and 2 will be work properly.
Will work properly? Okay. Let us see, guys. Okay. Let us see. What happened? Because I would have kept 202 response code, right? When I'm demonstrating, I'm forgetting to undo them, right? Okay. Now let us see, guys. Let me again run it. So now you are saying that both of them should work. Let us see. Green mark, right? But are they working or not? How do I know?
There is no request right for that. I mean, there is no samples. Sample.
No, is it working or not? How do I know?
Click on that sampler.
That means there are 4. First one, right?
One, yeah.
Then
It's showing the response code 200.
yeah, it can show response code 200, not an issue. What is our objective here?
We can check the response data also.
We need to check the request. What is my objective? My objective is whether the value is getting read from this file or not, right?
Yeah, server name. Yeah.
So I need to go and check the request. This request basically, okay, sorry, you were asking the question the other day, right? You see here, thread group 01 is the name, right? And this thread group 1 and 1. So first user, okay? So the request of thread group 1 is going to my petstore.octopuff.com. Then request, you see this one, guys, this sampler, where is it going? This is also going to petstore.octopuff.com. Clear? So what did you observe, guys? The CSV dataset config is part of my test plan, and your thread group 1, thread group 2, and the CSV dataset config, they all three are at the same level, means they all are part of the test plan, child element of the test plan. So this thread group and this thread group could access the variable, right? The variable. And that is why the value got passed here. All of you clear or not? But now you see, guys, we are now going to learn a very, very important concept. I disable this one. I enable this one. What will be the expectation now? All of you.
The thread group local will be getting faster.
Sorry?
Should get passed. No, the thread group 1 should get passed.
The sampler belonging to thread group 1. This way we need to answer, right? The sampler belonging to thread group 1 will pass the answer which Sarika had mentioned, right? So the sampler belonging to thread group 1 will pass, but let's see what happens to thread group 2. Thread group 1 will definitely pass because it has this, right? Let us see now. What happened, guys? This one passed. This belongs to thread group 1, right? And this one, guys, you see what happened here. What happened?
No, that is referring to the global.
No. There is a variable. There is a variable here. Where? Here. There is a variable here. But this variable is not able to find its value. Why? Because this particular CSV dataset config is part of your thread group 1. So please remember, guys, one very, very important concept. Variables are local to thread groups. Variables are local to thread groups in JMeter. Please remember this very, very important statement. Okay. See now. How do I explain that? I have this variable, right? P underscore server name. Here also I have this variable, and this variable is present in this here. So the value is already assigned, right? P underscore server name will be assigned with this variable, with this value already or not. Means whatever value is present in this CSV file. The same variable name I'm using here also, but the value is not coming here. Why? Because this variable is part of the CSV dataset config, which is part of thread group 1. Okay. So you cannot access that variable outside of this thread group. Outside of this thread group. So variables are local to thread groups, guys. Please remember, very, very important statement. Okay. Clear? Yes or no?
Yes.
Okay.
So here, if you want to know for the pet store, if you want to select fish first, then you can define the particular product ID from the thread group 1. If you want to select the dog, you can define that variable into the thread group 2. Likewise, right?
No. Thread groups will always contain different user flows. If you have thread group 1 and thread group 2, ideally thread group 1 should focus on one user flow. Thread group 2 should focus on another user flow. When you are saying fish should be selected by one user, dog should be selected by another user, that script will be part of thread group 1 only. Based on that CSV file, the user will pick up the value. You don't have to keep same user flow in multiple thread groups. That is not the way we do the scripting. Okay. Clear?
Okay.
Understood?
So in thread group 1, I can say like I can launch the application and go for the checkout the product. That's it. And in thread group 2, I will go like launch it and log out like this, or it will be the different application we are talking about.
Different user flow in the same application. You are going to do the performance testing of a same application. You are not going to test multiple applications at the same time as part of a single script. Okay.
So the different
if you
user
can do
flow,
that, if you want, you can do that, but it is not the general scenario.
So that
Okay.
is correct. Like we can do login, log out, and the next one thread
Login,
group.
log out means purchase a product will be one user flow, cancel a product or cancel an order will be another user flow. That will be part of your another thread group. Let's say flight booking application is there. In that you can book a hotel, right? You can cancel an order, right? So you have your hotel booking script in as part of one thread group, your flight booking as a part of another thread group. That way means user flows means you understand, right? Different user flows should be part of different thread groups.
Okay.
Okay. Clear? I think Chandra was asking that question. Is your question clear? Because I don't think that
Yeah,
you got
yeah,
the
yeah.
answer.
Got it. Yeah, I
You
got
understood,
it.
no? Yes.
Yes,
Okay.
got it.
Very good. Now, guys, question for you. Okay. Instead of CSV dataset config, what will I do? I'll add one config element known as user-defined variables. Okay. Same thing. What will I do? Instead of test environment details, I'll add a variable. The same variable name I'll take. Right? Here, all of you. Now tell me what will happen. The user-defined variables is present in thread group 1, and in thread group 2 we don't have anything, right? So I'll now replay it. What will happen?
So
Same behavior?
Yeah, same behavior.
Okay, very good. All of you? Same behavior? I have defined that variable inside thread group 1. Yes or no?
Yes.
Okay. All of you, same behavior? Okay. So I replay it. Oh my God. What happened? So if I am showing this, means it must be a special case. Yes or no? So guys, let us go to thread group 1. What is the server name? Very good.
Sure.
Then I go to pets to the second one. What is the server name?
Same.
Same. So you will be wondering how did it happen, right? So remember, guys, many people do not know this. Okay. Only exception is user-defined
User-defined variable.
variables element. Okay. Whatever variables you define in the user-defined variables, irrespective of the location where you place it, it becomes a global variable. But
Even if you
other,
will put in the test plan, is it also okay? It will work like this
that is self-understood.
under test plan.
If I put, yes, I understood your question. If I put it under the test plan, then this complication doesn't arise at all, right? For example, this test environment details was present under my test plan. So my entire test plan was
I'll be
able to access.
disable na test. I'll be disable the test environment details.
Yes,
I'll
I
be put
understood your
that user.
question. Listen. I'm trying to explain. If I am putting the, I can do that. Whatever you're saying, we can do that. For example, I can keep it like this, and then I can give that server name value, right? But then
Right.
in that case, it will work. But what I'm trying to say is this tricky situation doesn't arise, right? Because this variable is part of my test plan itself, right? So definitely my
Right.
entire test plan can access it. That is a simple thing, right? What I'm trying to show here, the exception thing I'm trying to show here. Are you understanding my point? Yes or no?
Okay, got it.
Got it now, na? If you have put
Okay.
it this, if you have put the variable here, yes, it will work because it is under the test plan and all the elements of my test plan will be able to access it. Yes or no? But here, what did I try to show? I tried to show a tricky situation. The user-defined variable is present under the thread group 1 and the thread group 2 doesn't have the access of this variable anywhere, right? Still it is working or not?
Right.
Because This is the exception guys. User defined variables. Whatever variable you define here, that will be global across test plan. But any other thing, any other element, any other variable, for example, this one, this is also variable guys. This is also a variable. If I have any request, let's say inside thread group 2, let's say I create a sampler here, okay, and if I try to reference that variable, which variable? This variable in thread group 2, it will not work. Why? Because variables are local to thread groups. You have to remember this statement. The only exception being which one? User defined variables. All of you clear? All of you clear?
Yes.
So all of you clear on global variables and local variables in JMeter?
Yes, yes. Not.
Only your this statement when you say variable local to thread group, is it like when we have to define like that, if it's a user defined variable, then it's global, and the local variable like we defined inside the thread group, that is local to the that particular thread group.
Defined variable also I have defined inside the thread group only, right? That is an exception I'm trying to say you, right?
But
That
about this
this is,
line, variable local to thread group.
yeah,
Variable
that is what I'm
part.
trying to say. Any variables are local to thread groups means a variable which is defined in a particular thread group that remains local to that thread group only. It cannot be accessed outside of the thread group.
Yes.
Understood? That is how the statement works.
Yeah.
The only exception being user defined variables. Clear?
Yeah.
Because here also in user defined variables, I have declared this or defined this variable inside this thread group, right? But I'm able to access it outside of this thread group. Yes or no? So that is an exception. But any other variable you take, parameterized, correlated, it will not work outside of the thread group. Clear?
Yes.
So any variable initiated or defined inside a particular thread group cannot be accessed outside of that thread group. Okay. Any questions, anyone? Okay, so with this will stop the session for today. Thank you all for joining.
One questions.
Yeah, tell me.
Okay, that's I have to parameterization and it's be unique. So can you help me out?
Sorry?
I have to do parameterization and it should be unique.
Yes.
So
Explain me the complete. Yeah, we can do that. So do one thing in our group, right? In a group, you explain me the complete scenario. What do you want to do basically? I understood your
only
question.
I have only I have 100
See, you
data.
do one thing. You do one thing. Tell me, put in the WhatsApp group the number of, today it is already late, so we'll discuss it tomorrow, but put the number of users, number of iterations, and this one, the number of rows of in your number of rows of test data in your CSV dataset config. Understood? Then I'll tell you how to achieve that. Clear?
Okay.
Understood, right?
Yeah, I got it.
Okay, sure. Thank you then.